third episode of Spiceworks Live. Today, Cloud Service Discovery in Spiceworks 6. Welcome back to Spiceworks Live, everyone. My name is Elise. I'm in marketing here at Spiceworks. This is a weekly series, the third episode in the weekly series of live streams that we've been doing covering Spiceworks 6. And the reason why we're doing this, in case you're just tuning in today for the first time, is that Spiceworks 6 is the latest release, the latest product release that we've put out. It's in beta right now, and there's a ton of really cool stuff in it that we want IT pros everywhere to know about and check out. And we're several months out from it actually being available to everyone, which is why this is a really cool way for us to kind of share what's in it and give you guys sneak peeks and have you tune in and ask your questions and all kinds of stuff. So that's why we're here. Today we're going to be talking about the new Cloud Service Discovery feature in Spiceworks 6. And we're going to have Chris, our fearless IT director, asking questions of Scott Connor, who is the application developer for Cloud Service Discovery. And they're going to be covering all of the cool stuff that's in the feature. After which, we're going to do a live Q&A, similar to what we did last week, where we will be answering all of your questions live on Spiceworks 6. What's in it, what you can expect, how it's going to help you. So be sure to send in all your questions using the live window, chat window on the live stream page. And we'll get to as many as we can. And at the end of the broadcast, what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of the names randomly out of the hat that's answered today. And that person is going to win a super cool Spiceworks 6 t-shirt. It's so cool, in fact, that it's not even printed yet. So if you were the lucky winner of this t-shirt, you're going to be one of the first to be able to sport it, which is pretty darn cool. As a reminder, we are live, so I have no idea what's going to happen today, or in the next couple of seconds, for that matter. As you can see behind me, we are right smack dab in the middle of the dev and support area here at Spiceworks HQ. Last week, some of you may have noticed some odds and ends in the background, people popping out with mustaches. There may or may not have been someone doing the moonwalk across the background at one point. So who knows what's going to happen today. But if you spot something fun, interesting, weird, otherwise notable, put that in the live chat window too, and we may be giving away a free t-shirt for that kind of spotting as well. But first, let's go ahead and get a sneak peek of Cloud Service Discovery in action.
Cloud services such as Dropbox, Amazon, and Evernote might be a great convenience for your users, but they can be quite a headache for an IT pro to manage. They can be bandwidth intensive, but because there's not always a related program to install, hard to keep track of where they're being used. Well, Spiceworks 6 is adding a new Cloud Service Discovery feature to let you know what is being used and by whom. After a device is scanned, each subsequent network health check will take a quick look at what unmanaged cloud services are currently being used. From the Cloud Services page, you'll be able to see every service being used across your network and how many devices are using them. You'll see an alert when a new device is added to the list, and you can click through directly to the inventory. Help us test the Cloud Service Discovery feature by installing the Spiceworks 6 beta, just not in production, and letting us know what you think. You can find the download in the Spiceworks 6 group in the community.
Hi, I'm Chris, the Director of IT here at Spiceworks, and with me is Scott Connor, our lead on our Cloud Services team. We're going to be talking a little bit about Cloud Discovery, but first, Scott, what is it that you do here?
Well, as you said, I'm kind of leading the Cloud Service Initiative. We do a lot of different things, different plugins, integrations, biz dev deals with the vendors, and then, as always, adding different features and tracking for cloud services that our users would like. Okay, great. Tell us about some of the cloud discovery features in Spiceworks 6. What kind of problems is it going to solve for IT pros? Right, so for those who have been versed with cloud services in 5.2 and 5.3, we did have a little bit of auto scanning for the services that you run, but we're starting to see a change in the landscape where services are coming in and out of corporate networks and small and medium business IT infrastructures that aren't necessarily fully vetted, or they don't know that it's actually running. Things like Dropbox is a great example. You could have information coming in and out of the network. So there are a lot of services that consumers and network users are adopting faster than IT is rolling them out or adopting new services. So we really want to be able to say, what's the whole picture? What's running on the network that is related to cloud services that maybe the IT manager doesn't know about? Great. So I can track down rogue services, essentially. That would be one good use case for it, yes. How is this different from the current feature? Right. So as I said a moment ago, we do some cloud service scanning. So if you go to the cloud services section of the app that's been there since 5.2, we will do our best to detect services that we know you're running. We'll do things like do an MX lookup on your email to see who your email provider is. If that provider is one of our integrators, Rackspace, Google, or Microsoft, we'll tell you and then help you get that set up inside Spiceworks. Same thing for a domain and ISP. Well, those are things that we glean off of the tiny little bit of information that we collect from you as you're setting up Spiceworks. What this actually does is scans the network and actually takes a look at the individual machines to see what is running on that machine at that moment. And we're starting to record services as they're being used versus as they're being installed or configured outside of the network.
Okay. What prompted this particular feature?
So there are kind of a couple driving things. Again, the big one's the landscape. People are adopting services, and there are so many different services out there that you don't really know what's happening. So, someone like yourself who is
Thank you.
it's just another day at Spiceworks. So, man, that really distracted me. So you don't know what's really happening. So it's a security feature is kind of a real big case here. You don't really know what's going in and out, so you really want to be able to see what's happening. Otherwise, say maybe there's 20 people using a service on a network. Maybe there's a good way to roll that up with a group license or something. Get everybody under an account that you control, and then you can set your compliance standards from there. So it's a way to increase security, but then also save a little bit of money and figure out what people are doing to use their job and adapt to it.
Okay. So what all goes into developing something like this?
Well, it's kind of a multi-stage process. So one of the big things is first we have to be able to see what services are running on the network, and with the protocols that we're using today, SSH, WMI, there are certain technical hurdles we had to get over just with that. So there was a lot of development work going into that. The next thing was, once we can kind of see what traffic is going on the network, we need to be able to identify it. At the moment, you really always see is a bunch of IP addresses. So there was a lot of work that we also did investigating what cloud services are actually in the market, what their infrastructures look like, and then how those IP blocks play out with the network traffic that we see. So there's kind of a lot of pieces that are coming together at once, including a lot of community content that you'll see.
How many people worked on this?
It was really just 3 of us, kind of full time. We definitely had help from Babbitt and a lot of the other team as well. But yeah, and it took 3 of us a couple months of effort to get all the pieces together.
All right. So why don't we check out this feature in action?
All right. So I have my demo box running up here if you guys can see it.
And just a point of clarification, Scott develops on a Mac.
There's nothing wrong with that, Chris.
So just if you see the Mac, don't get any weird ideas about the app running on a Mac.
Correct. So in development, it runs on a Mac, but you can certainly still visit Spiceworks from a Mac, specifically Chrome. So anyway, here's actually my dev box. As we said, we don't really know what's going to happen today, so if anything strange happens, it's simply because we're doing it live. So as you can see, a lot has changed. Some of this you may not even recognize from the last beta. So some of the things that were done besides adding new detection features is our ability to view the data a little bit better. So every release, we're constantly tweaking this UI, and we're seeing how people are using it, seeing what features are actually being used, which ones are important. So one thing to note here is that you'll see a constant evolution, a slow evolution of the UI. So some of this, or all of this rather, is brand new. Speaking specifically to the detection feature, you can see we have a new section up at the top where it says unmanaged services on your network. So what Spiceworks will actually do here, as I said, is it will go out, it will monitor the network traffic, and then try to determine which services those are, and then it'll alert you that that service was found on your network. So you don't even have to set anything up. If you've done an inventory scan, this is already happening. You'll start getting alert emails saying that somebody's using Salesforce, or somebody's using, Basecamp or, some certain antivirus. So you can see here, we have a couple different services: Salesforce, Kaspersky Labs, AVG, 37 Signals Basecamp, TeamViewer, Jabber, CrashPlan, LogMeIn. These are ones that we've just picked up in the last couple of days here in my dev box. As you can see here, like Kaspersky Labs, what we would do here is, if somebody didn't necessarily know what it was, in this particular case they would, especially if it's antivirus, but you can see we have Kaspersky Labs. We give a quick blurb about it. This information and the reviews and the ratings actually come from user-generated content in the community. So if you don't know what Kaspersky Labs is, clicking on it will give you what other IT pros think about it. So there's kind of an awareness piece right there. And then we actually keep track of who and what machines have been using it, how many times we've detected it, and when's the last time they used it. So not only do you get a little bit of information about what it is, you get a little bit more of a view about the pattern of how people are using it as well. So that's kind of the big feature as far as the detection piece goes. But there are also plenty of other goodies in there as far as the UI rev that would be interesting to look at.
Great, thank you.
Great, thanks so much, Chris and Scott. That was really good information. Don't forget, you can post your questions on Cloud Service Discovery or any of the other features that are in Spiceworks 6 by using the live chat window on the live stream page. And just as a reminder, the Cloud Service Discovery feature, along with all of the other stuff that's currently in the beta, is ready to test. And you can find out how to get involved in beta testing in the Spiceworks 6 group, which you'll already be in if you're in the live stream page. So if you're curious about it, go check it out. There's lots of posts that'll give you more information about that. So, and in case you have any funny or unusual sightings, be sure to go ahead and send those to us too in the same live chat window. And now, it's time to put Tim Gitos in the hot seat. He's going to be answering your live Q&A questions.
We're here with Tim Gitos. I have one thing that I'm going to deviate from real quick, though. You're from Perth, Australia, right? Correct. So we have one other person in the company from Perth, and he refuses to indulge me. Can you say that's not a knife?
That's not a knife.
Awesome. Just wanted to hear a real Australian say that. Anyway. Tim is one of our developers on the cloud services team. Mm-hmm. Maybe give a little intro into what you do.
So I'm responsible for all of the scanning stuff that goes on. So the auto detection stuff from 5.2 and 5.3, I was the one who wrote that, and this new network discovery stuff, I was the one who wrote that as well.
Great. All right, well, we're going to get into a little Q&A. So we're ready for questions. And our first question comes from Jason Hand, CNMEC. Will cloud services recognize new services that come online like Google's new G Drive?
So something that we have planned in the future is delivering a list of cloud services that we're currently detecting from the community. And so we'll be able to update that list as new things come online and then send them down to the app without the IT guy having to do anything. So yeah, eventually we will be able to detect new things as they come up.
Okay. Our next question comes in from Facebook. Can cloud services be malware? I have seen 2 on a PC that I never installed.
I don't know if they're malware per se, but I mean, it's definitely an issue if you're not recognizing something and you haven't cleared that for use in the company and someone is using it. So in that sense, it could be considered something you need to take care of, but I don't know if I would necessarily call it malware.
Okay. And our next question from, oh dear, SAC Scuba Instructor. How will the software scan impact the current network? What will the overhead look like?
So what we do now is we piggyback onto the back of the network health check. And basically all we're doing is we're sending back a list of IP addresses that computer is currently connected to at the time. So we're seeing probably about maybe 20 lines of a text file coming back from every computer. So we think at the moment the network impact will be pretty minimal, considering that Finder collects a whole bunch of information about every single device. And really 20 lines extra is not a big burden. But as the feature gets rolled out and more people use it, we'll be monitoring the performance to make sure that it doesn't negatively impact the rest of the network performance.
Okay. Our next question from Maximilian X. Are cloud services predefined? Can we define more?
So another feature that we're going to be working on in the future is one of unknown identification. So when you're running the scan on your network, we will eventually start reporting on IP addresses that we don't know what they are and ask you guys, the IT guys, to help us identify it. So when we talk about identifying new things, we're going to give you guys the IT guys an opportunity to help us find out what new services are and identify them, and then give them the opportunity to tell the rest of the IT guys around who use Spiceworks what they are.
Okay. Our next question comes from Marcus Bryan. How does it manage the network traffic? Is there equipment that's needed? A switch, firewall, anything like that?
So the way it works is when the Spiceworks scan is going into a local computer to scan it, what we do is we detect TCP connections through a netstat command. So basically, as long as essentially all you need is a workstation and a server running Spiceworks, and it'll all work out of the box once you set up your scan accounts and passwords and stuff like that.
Okay. Our next one from Elliot Friend 1. Once I identify these cloud services, will I be able to manage them?
That is the ultimate goal of what we're going towards. We would love people to be able to go to see a cloud service pop up in their detected list and say, well, I know that we run this, but it's not in Spiceworks, I need to manage it, and then somehow give credentials to that service and then manage it. So it's not in there right now, but we're working towards it as hard as we can.
Next one from Nick Crockett. What cloud services will be tracked?
So right now, we're kind of running it to try and determine what people are actually using. We know, at least here in Spiceworks, we use stuff like Salesforce, Dropbox. A few of the guys here run Carbonite and Crash Plans, so services like that. We don't have a definite list just yet. As I said earlier, we can update that list on the fly. Mm-hmm. So we're going to really be tweaking this over the next few releases to really dial in the services that we know people are going to want to see in their network.
Okay. Our next one from Dennis J. When will 6 go live?
I don't really know. That's not in my hands. So
since I actually pushed the final application out, I don't even know. So, yeah, I guess we'll just have to put a big fat, we don't know yet. And our final question, is there anything else cool about the feature you want to tell our community about?
I think we've covered it all in the answers. I mean, I really am excited about the unknown identification, giving IT guys the opportunity to tell us what we're missing. I think it's going to create an ecosystem that's really cool, where people will be able to identify services, rate and review them. They'll go up to the community, other people can comment on them, and we can really help everyone get a handle on cloud services that are being used in their network that they may not even know about today. So I think we've covered all that, and that is really the coolest part of the whole feature to me.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys. And thank you all for sending your questions in. That was some really great information. And now it's time to figure out who's going to win the free t-shirt. I'll do that. All right. The randomly selected winner of the t-shirt for Spiceworks 6 is Elliot Friend. Congratulations. Just as a reminder, I'm going to put you on the list of people that have won this t-shirt. As it hasn't been printed yet, you will not receive it immediately, but you will be getting it. Congratulations. It's going to be awesome. And the envy of all of your friends, I'm sure. And now for the second prize, which is for spotting some possibly weird and unusual activity in the background. And to find out who won that prize, let's go over to what I'm calling the social media lounge and see who won that. Todd?
Well, thanks, Elise. And the winner is Shay Neal, who found that there was a mustache guy that poked out between the screen. So good job, Shane.
Excellent. Very fun. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget, we're going to be here next week, next Wednesday at 11 a.m. We're going to be talking about Knowledge Base, which, as all of you know, is long awaited by IT pros. It's the #1 requested feature and has been for a very, very long time. I don't think I'm going to be giving too much away by saying that it's going to be available to test in the next couple of days. It will be in the beta. And next week, we're going to be covering it and giving you a sneak peek and having another chance to ask questions about it and anything else you'd like to ask about in Spiceworks 6. So keep the chat going. Let us know what you'd like to talk about and discuss in future live streams by continuing to post in the live chat window all week long if you'd like. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey everyone, Elise here, just out enjoying a moment of nature in the wilderness behind Spiceworks HQ. Thanks so much for tuning in to last week's live stream on cloud service discovery. Next week, we're going to be covering the new mobile help desk feature in Spiceworks 6.
Someone say help desk.
Oh, hey, it's Knox, our very own IT pro.
Need help with that?
No, thanks. We're also going to be doing another live Q&A session and giving away a Spiceworks 6 t-shirt on top of some other really cool swag. So be sure to tune in Wednesday, May 2nd at 11 a.m. We'll see you there.